Hello, namaste. This is Gilles Mansillon. I thought I'd come to you today to make a little message. I thought I'd speak about spiritual vehicle. But before, I'd like to make two little brief notes. The first one is I made a few little very short videos of the Fête de la Musique here in Caen. It doesn't have much spiritual interest. It is just to document this social event. It is a day in France. I hopefully will catch up around the world. It is a day where people celebrate music and they get their mind outside of their usual routine in order to just be to celebrate this holiday. So it's quite nice. And the second message is that I wanted to wish the best strength and courage to everybody who's doing the Ramadan, who's doing this ceremonial fasting. It is the first time I chose to participate in it. I was guided to do so. It is a mean by which to purify the body in order to allow more spiritual essence to be more present, and also it is like a cleansing. So there are a billion people doing it around the world. So if you're doing it, I wish you strength and purification and joy. If you haven't been called to do anything like this, it is not your time. But at some point, the purification of the body is kind of nice to do, and the body can function if it doesn't need all that food that we ingest every day in order to function. However, since it is my first time, I'm having a little bit of difficulty not to hold the fast, but mostly to function as a normal person inside of society, or even within my daily routine, because I'm kind of like looking at with the clock and things. But anyways, just wanted to wish everybody a pleasant Ramadan, and hopefully this will bring you much joy and happiness. So I wanted to discuss basically the idea of spiritual vehicle. What is a spiritual vehicle? Well, the physical body is a spiritual vehicle. It is something that carries consciousness. It is a magnificent creation that's full of mysteries and energies, and it exists on the first dimension as cells. There is hundreds of billions of cells that make up these physical forms. Then we have all the organs, and the second dimension, all kinds of intelligent beings, and but those are they may not be conceived as real beings, although they are sacred energies that lives within each of the organs that makes them work and function. It is a very, very complex mechanism that is part of the non-being, the invisible world. For most of what we see in this physical life is the third dimension, which is the ego sense of separated entity, to be a separate entity and to experience life through the five senses. However, this is not all that is. This is not all there is about us, and so we have an inner world that is mainly connected. Most humans are mainly connected to the outer plane, to the physical world, and they live their life there. But we have an inner world that needs to be. We need to connect to that if we wish to move forward, to ascend. We have to realize that within our heart, within our chakra systems, there are possibility for transmutation of our frequency, of our energy, of our consciousness into a higher level of consciousness. And so when we seek ascension, we seek to be more lucid, to be more loving, to be more understanding, to be more present. And so basically there has been known as the great vehicle, was the vehicle, the name of the great vehicle was the one that is being used by the master in order to achieve ascension. And so every master has unfolded his light body. We all have a light body. The light body is a physical evolution of the light evolution of our physical self. It is stored within our spinal column and as the Kundalini, and which will eventually rise to expand our consciousness when we are ready. And then there is the small vehicle, which is the vehicle that is known to be the continuation of the master's teaching, such as the religions are known in that category. For it is following the guidance of a master in order to achieve enlightenment. And so everybody will eventually reach enlightenment, but every incarnation, the purpose is to the sole purpose is to achieve freedom and liberation from time and space. Although when we come here we forget that and we get involved with our life, and so that's why it takes many life before we come into the realization that we need. Doesn't mean we have to live this life, but we have to incorporate our spiritual nature within our physical life. And so it is very much a process that we came to participate in. In the ascension process, sometimes our consciousness ascends within ourselves. We become more aware, more conscious. That can happen every day. But the goal that I'm talking about in terms of ascension is the ascending the whole incarnation, ascending the whole. Like Buddha or Jesus, those masters ascended their whole incarnation. Well, Jesus mostly, Buddha kind of left his body behind, but it is very much the whole point of this creative matrix, or outside of exploring all those themes that we know, is that eventually we could be free we're free to access the higher plane and jump into the sphere of light. And so if we only need to do that once we know the eternal truth of God, it's not something we can forget, nor it is really something we can fully express. But also, there has been revealed that there is what is called a non-vehicle, which is a vehicle supreme, which means that because essentially ascension would be to move from ignorance into lucidity, from the impure sphere of the earth to the pure sphere of light, of God, of spirit. And the non-vehicle would mean to move from impure to the pure and then reintegrating the impure as part of the whole truth. For we are made of both darkness and light. There is no, and so it is about accessing this supreme light, this supreme understanding. When I first get exposed to that idea, it was very difficult for me to even envision the possibility that I could ever merge with that consciousness. However, that is about underestimating the I am presence that lives within us. For this presence is even beyond that. However, it is guiding us step by step towards ever progressive evolution. So, but yet aspiring for a very high spiritual, having a very high spiritual ambition is really good, because it shows the universe. It demonstrates your courage to the universe and your desire to expand into something far greater. But there is also a danger that we might fail, but no matter how many times you fail, if you truly sincere, you will succeed. So do not never give up on yourself. Always know that the critical voice that you hear within you is your ego. It's not your soul. It's not your spirit. Of course, spirit will also show you what you need to see in order to progress. But there is no. It is an eternal path, so there is no rush. It is here and now, and it will always be here and now. Once you discover that there is this presence of love here and now, then this presence will go with you anywhere you go. And so the challenge is to incorporate every aspect of all the things that comes into your consciousness, whether it's physical or non-physical, and integrate it in an harmonious way. Because if you reject part of yourself, or if you reject others, then somehow those energies will come back until you can make peace with it. And so it is very important to continue this process, and and also know that this inner light is a protective shield for you. There is no real danger in life, and the more you have this divine light, the more you are attuned to it, the more you are able to express it, the more you are able to feel it, the more you will know that you are protected by that light. And so it is very important to nurture and cultivate virtues and attributes of divinity every day, like compassion, wisdom, kindness, goodness. And so before I close, I wanted to bring about two little I wanted to talk about two little aspects that have been discussed in Hollywood through the two movies. The first one is The Greyhound Day. The Greyhound Day is a movie with Bill Murray where he wakes up every day on February 2nd and having to face the same thing. And the first few days he doesn't really realize what's going on, but then eventually he realized that every day there is the same challenge, but there is more and more and more and more and more he can do with that day. And so it is not about being, I'm not talking about being overactive, I'm talking about being conscious about the subtleties that are everywhere present. And so every day we are repeating the same thing over and over and over again until we get what we need to get from the point, from what our soul wanted to teach us, and then the day changes. There's new habits, new relationship, new relationship to life, new relation to new opportunity, new creative avenues. There's all kinds of things. So basically life will repeat itself until we move into this eternal now, where we realize that everything is fine right now. There is no need to change anything. There is no need to judge anyone. There is no need to. There is just being grateful for what is now and knowing that there is more to come, always. And the second movie I thought it would be interesting to discuss here today is a movie called The Truman Show with Jim Carrey, where he's a child that's been adopted by a corporation, and his life was made into a TV show where everybody that lives in his life, that's part of his life, is actually actors that have been hired by the studios to produce the show. And so at the end he escapes, of course. But the point of that movie is the true man, the real man, the true man, is that it reveals parts of the truth that from a higher perspective it's only you and God. There is no one else. Everybody else is also an extension of God, and their relationship is exactly the same as you. And of course nobody knows that the only hired actors that are coming into your life to reflect certain aspect of this physical life, but in truth it's like you are the only one here. I'm not even here. I'm just a projection of you, and so and we all projection of Source, and so. But Source is one, and so you can never be separated from Source. Therefore, you have to be Source, even if the consciousness is not on a supreme or ultimate or absolute level yet. Your nature, your essential nature, can never change. You are that. And so this movie revealed, of course, it doesn't reveal the whole paradigm of unity consciousness, but it kind of put into questions whether or not we. That everything is malleable, everything is changeable, and people around you are just the perfect reflection you need in order to grow and experience this life in the physical. Of course, it is always about harmonizing the inner and outer self, but because they're both important. But if you leave one and just to get involved in the others, then there will be imbalance. So it is very much about action and non-action, following your passion, following your joy. And I wish you a wonderful summer, because we have just started this time. Of course, it's always now, but when the now turns into the expression of pure creativity and passion, then and you can stick to it, then you're no longer even tempted to go back down to depression or struggle or anything like that. You can just whenever that comes, you let it pass, and you automatically flows into something better. And life is always new, so every day we can readjust ourselves and change anything we don't like. Thank you very much, and I talk to you later. Namaste.